Matthew 20 begins with a story that challenges our sense of fairness and entitlement. Jesus tells a parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay them a denarius for the day and sent them into his vineyard. As the day progresses, the landowner continues to hire more workers. At the 3rd hour, the 6th hour, the 9th hour, and even the 11th hour. When evening comes, he pays all the workers the same wage, 1 denarius. Those who worked all day grumble, saying, "These who were hired last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the work and the heat of the day." But the landowner replies, "Friend, I am not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous?" This parable reminds us that God's grace is not earned, but given freely. It challenges us to celebrate God's generosity rather than compare or compete. On their way to Jerusalem, Jesus takes the 12 aside and tells them what is about to happen. "We are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and the teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified. On the 3rd day, he will be raised to life." This is the 3rd time Jesus has foretold his death and resurrection, yet the disciples still struggle to understand. Jesus' words reveal his unwavering commitment to God's plan of redemption, even in the face of suffering and death. The mother of James and John approaches Jesus with a bold request. "Grant that one of these 2 sons of mine may sit at your right, and the other at your left in your kingdom." Jesus responds, not with condemnation, but with a challenge. "You don't know what you are asking. Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?" The brothers answer, "We can." Jesus replies, "You will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father." When the other disciples hear about this, they are indignant. Jesus uses the moment to teach about true leadership in his kingdom. "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." Jesus redefines greatness as humility and service, reminding us that leadership in God's kingdom is about sacrifice, not power. As Jesus and his disciples leave Jericho, a large crowd follows them. 2 blind men sitting by the roadside hear that Jesus is passing by, and they cry out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." The crowd rebukes them, telling them to be quiet, but they shout all the louder, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." Jesus stops and asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" They reply, "Lord, we want our sight." Moved with compassion, Jesus touches their eyes, and immediately they receive their sight and follow him. This miracle shows Jesus' heart for the marginalized and his power to bring restoration. The blind men's persistent faith reminds us to cry out to Jesus, trusting in his mercy and power to meet our deepest needs. Matthew 20 is a chapter that upends human expectations. Through the parable of the workers, Jesus teaches us that God's kingdom operates on grace, not merit. Through his prediction of his death, he reveals the depth of his love and sacrifice. Through his interaction with the disciples, he redefines leadership as service. And through the healing of the blind men, he shows us the power of faith and compassion. Are we willing to embrace God's generous grace, serve others with humility, and trust Jesus with the needs of our hearts? The invitation is open to all. Will you say yes to the call of the kingdom? Jesus' conversation with the disciples continues to deepen the message of humility and service. He says, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." This teaching stands in stark contrast to the world's view of leadership. In God's kingdom, greatness is not measured by power, titles, or achievements, but by the willingness to serve others selflessly. Jesus himself sets the ultimate example, offering his life to redeem humanity. As followers of Jesus, we are called to embody this servant-hearted leadership in our relationships, workplaces, and communities.